This is CNN Breaking News.
Good morning, everyone. So grateful to have your company here as I'm Christy Paul, and we're watching some breaking news this morning.
I'm Martin Savage in for Victor Blackwell.
All righty, we have got a new launch of a missile by North Korea this morning.
North Korea is interrupting what is, of course, President Trump's second full day of overseas diplomacy.
Well, here's what we know about this new missile test. It was overnight. It comes just hours before the president is set to give this major speech in Saudi Arabia. He'll address more than 50 Islamic leaders to outline his vision for U.S.-Muslim relations.
This launch happened a short while ago, so let's bring you up to speed on the events that are unfolding on the Korean Peninsula right now. And for that, we turn to CNN international correspondent Will Ripley, who's reported many times from inside North Korea. He joins us on the telephone from Tokyo. Will, what do we know this morning about this launch?
Hey, Martin. Well, certainly the timing is interesting, and we can never read the minds of the North Koreans. But the fact that they have launched this medium-range ballistic missile, it flew several hundred miles, landing in the waters off the Japanese coast, sort of forcing themselves into the global conversation yet again, just hours before this major speech by the U.S. president. You have to wonder if the North Korean regime, led by Kim Jong-un, is trying to send a message that they want to be at the center of the attention of the world. I mean, this is one of the motivations behind these ballistic missile tests, in addition, of course, to the scientific knowledge that their rocket scientists gain every time. But just a week ago, we were talking about what is believed to be North Korea's most successful missile launch ever. The missile that they launched landed just 60 miles, the United States says, from the Russian Pacific Fleet in Vladivostok. This missile took a more usual trajectory, the kind that we see from North Korea, where it flew towards Japan, landed in the waters off Japan, no damage to any ships, fishing vessels in the area, but there was also no warning. So obviously, whenever North Korea does this, there is the potential to put people in danger. Interestingly, the missile was fired from the Pukchong region of North Korea, which is home to that country's largest power plant and also reportedly home to North Korean labor camps as well. And now it appears that Pyongyang is also using this region as a launching point for these medium-range ballistic missiles. We saw them test a similar missile like this back in February as well. 10 attempted missile launches during the Trump administration so far. It's really remarkable to think of the pace. It has continued to move very rapidly with North Korea under the new U.S. administration.
Well, you followed North Korea quite a bit, and I'm wondering, you alluded to it in the very beginning. We're all wondering it this morning. Was this delivered on the part of North Korea to once again steal back the spotlight? Historically, is this something they've done?
It absolutely is. And even though the North Koreans, when I've been in the country, and I was there last month during 2 failed missile launches, and they will deny that there are any outside influencing factors in why they choose to launch missiles at their particular time. But clearly this is a message. It's a message to the United States. It's a message to the new South Korean president, President Moon, who now there have been 2 missile launches during his very short time in office. He just won the election back on May 9th. And it's a message to the world at large that North Korea is making progress in their missile program, demanding the world's attention, and it's also symbolizing not even symbolizing, it's stating to the world that they're not going to give up this program. They're not going to give up their missile program. They're not going to give up their nuclear program. They have told me repeatedly they don't care about sanctions. They say they're not worried about that. Now, if China really would have tightened up the economic screws on the country, if China would have really cut off North Korea, could that be a game changer? We just don't know. But certainly sanctions over the last 10 years haven't stopped 5 nuclear tests and countless missile launches, dozens of them under the current leader, Kim Jong-un.
Will Ripley, thank you very much for that perspective. North Korea demanding to be heard. Christy?
I want to get right to CNN senior White House correspondent Jeff Zeleny, who is live in Riyadh, where the president is this morning. Jeff, good to see you. Any reaction from the White House on this latest missile test yet this morning?
Good morning, Christy. The White House is indeed following what's happening, of course, in North Korea, as Will was just reporting. They're keeping one eye on that, even as they are here for the second full day of the president's trip in Saudi Arabia. But a short time ago, a White House official put out a statement saying this. Let's look at this, Christy. He said, "We are aware that the North Korea launched a medium-range ballistic missile. The system, last tested in February, has a shorter range than the missiles launched in North Korea in the three most recent tests. We are referring you to the Department of Defense for more information. So, of course, the White House keeping one eye on that, but they, again, are not letting that dominate the conversation here as the president prepares to give what is potentially a major consequential speech this afternoon, Christy.
And what do we know about what he's going to say in this speech? There's a lot of concern about whether he'll use the terminology radical Islamic terrorism.
Right, and at this point, we do not believe he will use that term, but this is so interesting in every respect because we are going to see another chapter of this president, as he grows and changes. We heard so much during the campaign about Muslims. In fact, it was just about a year and 2 months ago, he told CNN, Islam hates us. He, of course, is, not going to say that during this speech. But, Christy, they are definitely trying to both reset his rhetoric and relations with the Middle East. And you could see that already starting earlier today here as the president was meeting with a variety of leaders. And you can see these leaders also trying to perhaps flatter him a bit as well. Watch this short moment with the president of Egypt, El-Sisi, as he's trying to potentially flatter President Trump.
Mr. President, let me express our appreciation and respect, and let me say that you have a unique personality that is capable of doing the impossible. That's very interesting. I agree.
So he's calling him someone with a unique personality, and you saw the president there saying he agrees to that. But, Christy, I can tell you the welcome and the reception here in Riyadh for this president has been perhaps something of a respite for him. There's been no talk of the Russia investigation, of course. And when you're driving through the streets of Riyadh, there are billboards, posters, pictures of this U.S. leader and president. And this is something that, of course, did not happen during the Obama administration. I remember being here some 8 years ago when President Obama made his first stop here. Of course, he was treated with respect, but the relations went down from there. So the Trump administration views this, Christy, as a moment to reset these relations. But again, that speech this afternoon to the Muslim world will be watched very carefully. Christy.
All right, Jeff Zeleny, thank you so much for the perspective this morning.
All right, let's discuss with CNN.